Okay, so I paused the video and I worked on this half of the piece here. Normally, I don't model all one piece, and the fact that it is modeled out of one piece makes your life really a lot more difficult, but it's not impossible. It takes a lot of work. So let me take you through what I did. Again, to add an edge, you can either shift and click on it, click on once, click on twice, and follow the edge loop, or you can hold the shift key down with your left mouse button and just kind of, and I'll show you how to work that. It makes it a little bit easier. So go into edge mode, go back into UVs, go into 3D cut and sew. And I'll demonstrate this real quick. Is if you have good edge loops, they'll go all the way across, but you can go ahead and hold the shift key down and your left mouse button and just kind of drag across if you want to. Okay, you can see how far it goes. Just go slow. Okay, you can see it going through. You can even bring it back. Okay, you can see how I'm working this. Just go slow if you only want it to go so far across. See, I'm just moving it very slowly, and I'm moving it back. I'm holding down the shift and my left mouse button. I'm keeping it on that line, and you can see I'm moving it back and forth. And that can tell, and that will cut for you. Okay, how far you want to go. Let me Control Z back. Okay, that'll get rid of it. And I'll show you that again. You just have to practice that. So click on the edge you want, hold down the shift key, and you can either, click on it like this and double click on it. Like click on one edge and then double click on it, and it will go all the way across if it finds its way across. Or you can do this. I'm going to Control Z back again. You can select it with holding down the shift key and then moving it across like this. Now it's going the wrong way. Let me go back. Here we go. Let's get up a little bit closer so we can see what we're doing here and move over. Sometimes you got to rotate around. Let's click off. Okay, and then we're going to start clean. Hold down the shift key and the left mouse button and hold it down and follow that edge across. There we go. You can see it working its way across. Here we go. Let's start on there and just work its way over like that. Oops, it wants to go too far, so I just pull it back a little bit. There we go, and then let go. And you can see it'll stop. Okay, cool. So you can do that with deleting something too as well. And just Control Z back. So I'm going to take you through what I actually did here. So I did edge loops all the way around. I did edge loops on the inside, so it took a while around the inside, and then inside of here and inside of here. Now it goes all the way around, and you notice that I made a cut right here. Okay, so the cut, basically you got to make a cut, otherwise that part goes all the way around if you lay that out the UVs. So you have to have a cut. You can't have a circular piece, it won't work. So you got to cut on one of the ends, especially if it's a continuous edge all the way around. Okay. Now you don't have to make any cuts here because that's flat. Okay. We may have some stretching right here, but what you do with cylinders, this is supposed to be a cord that goes through, or support cable, and I have to cut all the way around that on the top and that on the bottom because it's a 90-degree angle. Okay, it goes straight and then straight up. That's called a 90-degree angle. Okay, so we've got to cut on the bottom too. And notice that on this other side, where you don't see it, I put the seam that goes down here, so the cylinder will lay flat out in the UV map. And so I did the same thing with these guys over here. Basically cubes, you've got to cut up in 6 pieces if it's a cube shape, and that's kind of what I did here with the cube shapes. Okay, and went up around. Okay, and so this will be flattened, and that will be flat. Now, I still have work to do where I've got to take this, and since I'm in here, I can show you what I'm talking about. So this part out here is the outside. Okay, so this is how you cut holes, right? So you hold down the shift key and just kind of float it around like this, okay, until it goes all the way around. There we go. And then I'm going to do the inside piece. Now this is a broken edge loop right here. So what I have to do is I start here, hold down the shift key and my left mouse button, just kind of follow around like that. Hopefully it'll continue, maybe it won't. So I'll stop and then I'll do this one here. Here we go. There we go. And it takes a little while to figure it out, and I'll do this side over here. Okay, and then I'll do the last part right here. Okay, so if this were to lay out, it still wouldn't lay out properly because we have to have a cut from here to here to kind of stop that, so it'll lay out flat. So some people would cut here and here to kind of have those pieces relax. You really only have to cut one edge for it to relax properly. So if I cut on that, we don't want to go too far, and sometimes it won't let you go. Yeah, there we go. Whoop, it messed it. So I'm going to start again over here and just move it up just a little bit so I can get that part. There we go. Oh, and sometimes that happens, so just hold down the control and just click on that piece right there and it'll go away. It takes a while. Let's try it again. Here we go. Okay, so that allows that cut then to relax this whole piece. Okay, so you want to do that for the rest of the pieces. So that's how you do kind of an indent, and this is how you do, and you do the same thing for this. And this is a little more complex, but the same idea, where you're cutting around, holding the shift key down and having to go all the way around until it finally catches, and then you would do this part right here, go all the way around until it catches all the way around. There we go. That's good. And unfortunately you have to cut on the inside, which is really difficult. That's way down in there, so that's going to be hard to do. So I've got to cut that in here. So I'm going to start over here and go slow, holding down this. Yeah, there we go. It goes all the way around. There you go. That looks good. And then in here, for this to all work, you gotta have this cut right here at the bottom. Hold the shift key down. It's gotta cut all the way up to the top. See how I'm doing this? There we go. And that cuts that part, and that's hard to do. I got lucky on that one. There we go. So that's hard to do. So that's correct. That'll work. So that piece is done. I got 3 more pieces to do. I'm gonna pause the video to get those done, and then we'll finish this up by unwrapping it. Okay, I've got all the holes all done. You can see how I cut all the holes. You want to do the outside and then the inside. You do that same thing when you do the head. I'm going to do the head for you guys too in the next video. But this is a very complex object because it was made out of one piece. And can you imagine how much easier it would be if this tube was separate from like a separate model? And when you extrude stuff like this as one piece, it makes it incredibly hard to UV map. That's why I tell you guys not to model this way. You always want to add detail. Don't add detail unless you have to. So this is an old model I did a long time ago, showing you just kind of an example showing the student how to model out of one piece, but normally I tell them not to do that. There are reasons why you don't do this, and this is one of the biggest reasons, is because it takes forever to get this to look right, to get the UVs done. I literally spent probably an hour just getting everything figured out, and if I would have just done every piece separate, or actually I could have taken every one of these pieces and extracted the pieces from the main object, that would have made my life a little easier too. So just in the long run, just keep things separate. It makes it a lot easier. So the next thing we're going to do is, because it was so difficult to get this side, I just did one side of the UVs. And what I'm going to do is the UVs are separate, meaning that they work, basically UVs work as a per vertex. That's how it knows where things are, how the UVs are laid out. So I'm going to hit the Q key. That's how you get out of the tool. Hit the Q key and then go into object mode. So right click over and go into object mode, and that's how you can get out of the selection mode. There we go. And that's how you get out of it, out of the UV. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to go ahead and hide those and get real close to them. And I'm going to mirror the UVs over, and that works out pretty good. So I'm going to select half of the vertices. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Select half of the vertices, or excuse me, half the faces. Okay, now let's take a look at what's happening up here. Looks like I got more than I wanted to up in that part for some odd reason. So I'll go ahead and get rid of those. Here we go. We want it perfectly in the middle. Okay. And I'm going to hit delete. Okay. Now you notice these vertices are not lined up properly, so I'm going to go to vertex mode. Okay. And I'm just going to highlight the very edge of these vertices. Okay, I don't want to select anything more than that. By accident, you know, something like that would be bad news. So let me do it again and then make sure that I deselect. I want to kind of go through here real quick and just make sure just the center pieces are selected, and that is a problem right there. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do a control. There we go. Alright, so that looks good. Alright, so you can still see the UVs on there. It's still working. I'm going to double check everything here, make sure I don't have anything that's really close together. Okay, and those are super close together, but I think we're alright. Okay, a little trick that I learned, I'll share with you, and I think I've shown this to you before. We want all those edges to line up right on that edge right here on the axes, 0 axes. So I'm going to double click on the move tool, and in here we have move snap settings, so I'm going to turn that off. Retain component spacing off. Move it back over here, and then I'm going to click on the grid snap tool, and I'm just going to pop them over and then pop them back. Pop them over and pop them back. There we go. And that will make those fit perfectly. Okay. Alright, so let's just go in here and look at everything. Everything looks pretty good. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to duplicate that over. Looks like our center point's not set up, so let's go ahead and make sure your center is pivoted. So I'm holding the D key down so you can move that pivot point. And I'm going to go to Edit, Duplicate Special, Edit Reset, and then put a negative in front of the 1 and duplicate that over. There we go. And then that puts it over perfectly, and then I'm going to hold the Shift key down and merge them as one, and then I'm going to right click and go to Vertex, and we have to weld that piece together. So I'm just going to go right in here and hold the Shift key down. Let's get those are the Those are tough to grab, and then I'm going to hold the shift key down, continue on down the row here, and all the way down to the bottom, like that. Then I'm going to go to Edit Mesh, to Merge, and we're going to set this up at a very high rate, like 0, 0, 1, probably even farther than that, 0, another 0, and then 1, and that should merge, because we got vertices real close together, so go ahead and merge those. There we go. And that should be good to go. There we go. Okay. Alright. Now, I have had issues with UVs flipping, but at least I know this side I can flip those back over again. If I have problems, I can flip those UVs. The problem with mirroring over with UVs is that it does mirror the UVs inside out. Okay, if you do that, just keep that in mind. Okay, that's the end of this video. We're going to lay out the UVs in the next video.